Welcome to Lightning Talks. Here is Bernard to make his first talk, which is the advantages of having a filtering proxy, HTTP proxy, which I actually have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it's completely simple.
Completely simple.
Yes, as always with technology, once you've wrote it.
Well, I'm a bit back on that, but okay. Well, give an applause to the guy.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Okay, welcome. This talk is nothing really as well prepared as my other one. So we have filtering HTTP proxies. I wrote one myself. And this basic structure, when you have HTTP, you have a web server which serves pages or interactive stuff, and you have a client which is your browser or maybe a tool using an HTTP API. And the HTTP standard specifies that there can be a proxy in the middle who takes requests from the client and passes them on to the server, and the same on the backwards way. And now you might know Squid as caching proxy, but filtering proxy is nothing like it. A filtering proxy can modify the request or can modify the response, and it could be seen as its own web server in itself. For example, how you use this thing is, for example, with a proxy auto configuration file, which is a snippet of JavaScript which you can give your browser, and would say, if you go to this domain, please use proxy like this one, and if it doesn't work, you can use this proxy, and if that doesn't work too, just do direct request to the original domain. And I wrote a proxy for this domain, which is a game that is little maintained and has an awful web UI, and so I made a nicer one. This original UI was CSS embedded in the HTML, which is ugly and way too little information. And yeah, it's about a game where you build up your planets and raise factories to have higher production, and build some fleets to fight your enemies. And I improved the user interface and made extra links here, and created extra tools, and created information in a database on my proxy server about my allies that were online, and this could be seen down here. So the proxy server has a lot of logic in itself and can modify the pages of the original server, which is this one here, and not just modify the UI. And I have published the actual code on GitHub under GPL, or maybe AGPL, you have to check. And while I use this for this one, it can be used for others too. For example, I had a variant where it modified Wikipedia to insert edit links or have a typo checker included without touching Wikipedia itself. Some people have Firefox plugins to do the same, but they only work with Firefox, while my thing works with Lynx and with my mobile phone browser, and I can size down images to work better on mobile phones. And if you look closely here, you might even notice that the bars are looking different because I replaced the graphics for these bars, and I have an icon up here, which is content which is actually hosted on my server, because the original server did never have such an icon. So you can do all dirty tricks of this. And the structure is actually quite modular. If you look down here, this is passed to the file that does the actual modification, which is calculated from the URL. I don't know if you can see it up here. It's like /planet/details.php in the original, and my module file is named /planet/detail.pm because it's written in Perl, my filter. Okay, and that's pretty much. Any questions on filtering HTTP proxies? No, great. Thanks for your attention.
Isabel? No, Isabel. Yep. So, thanks a lot.
And I can tell you a little more later about the cloud.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. Zubis. Now. Okay. Thanks a lot. Are you coming? Nope. Later? How much later? You have to? Greeks. Okay, how much time do you need? No, you don't have 5 minutes. I can make a clown for 5 minutes. Well, you have to wait for him. You'll also have to wait for Isabel, I think. Relax. It's in. Oh, okay. So. You have to configure the screen. It's like... No? Can you try to do it? Cool. μαρτύρες έχω κάνει. Something does not work, like the mouse. Adore kidmente. Yes, we could use some help. Yes. La la la. Φύγε πίσω. Yes, something does not work. Yeah, can you take this to his laptop? Who's that? Hey, you want a laptop? That does not work. Isabel, if you're watching this live feed, please come here. So, something wrong here. What?
Is the mic on or not?
The mic on. Blah.
Blah, blah.
Blah.
Okay.
Blah, blah. So, here's Athanasios Ilias Rousinopoulos, or Zubis.
Better.
It's easier, yes. So he's going to talk about how he failed at Google Summer of Code this year.
And give some points.
And give some points about it.
For the future students.
Good luck.
Thanks a lot. Well, the last year I participated in Google Summer of Code, but I did fail. The goal of this presentation is to explain people, not only to avoid it, but to give some tips and tricks, and also talk a little about me. So, I'm an OpenSUSE ambassador the last 2 years. I study and I live in Madrid. I do my master studies in free software. Since the last September 2011, I participated and I promote OpenSUSE to Spain as an ambassador by participating in events and in conferences. As I said before, I do participate in Google Summer of Code with the OpenSUSE project. Okay, so until now, my evolution, as I say, it was from an evangelist to a Google to a Google Summer of Code student. I say it developer. So I involved into the Greek community as an evangelist, so as to promote OpenSUSE. I use Linux since the last 4 years, and I found very interesting to promote OpenSUSE. I have been the OpenSUSE medical project leader for a couple of months, but then I quit it due to my master studies that began in September 2011. So the last academic year, 2011-2012, I said to myself, okay, you have to look forward. You have to involve. So I tried to get into the Google Summer of Code exhibition, I could say. So I pick up this image because the numbers, the 55555, are the 5 points for each slide that you will see. So let's see them. So, which are the reasons to attend or to participate in Google Summer of Code? Okay, these are the reasons from my point of view. First reason is that is one of the several ways to develop software for OpenSUSE project. You can, for example, You can package your programs with OBS. You can participate in other projects to contribute in our Git repositories. But participating in Google Summer of Code is one of the several ways to do it also. Furthermore, you are being mentored by people that are already involved and have experience into the open source project. And that is very important because it means that you have the community, the community with you. For example, you need feedback from the users for your source code. You can exchange ideas, and you can interact with other members of the community, and also with your mentor. So, my point of view is not to look it as a job, because, for example, if you look it as a job, you will lose the part of experience. Let's say an example. You will tell, okay, I have to pack, for example, 100 boxes. I have to do it until 7 o'clock. You will pack the boxes without enjoying the whole process. What I mean is that if you think it as an experience, you're gonna gain experience, and also you will be more happy. You will carry on with development after the Google Summer of Code ends. So go to the other 5. Okay, and what Google Summer of Code failure means? I made a summary, and I wrote 5 points of this aspect. The first point is that you didn't work. You just got in, and then you disappeared. The second point is that you began, but some weeks later, although your passion to carry on, you gave up for hundreds of reasons. You had also a lack of any previous experience. As you say, you didn't have the code base. You didn't have any interaction with the project. Another common reason is that you had miscommunication with your mentor, or there was a miscommunication between the student and the mentor. That means that is student's fault and mentor's fault, or vice versa. Although you made big effort, you were passionate about this, but finally you weren't able to pass the evaluation. We can find another 5, 10, 100 points of view, but my goal was to summarize them and to explain them as simple as possible. So, go to the other point. What does not a failure means in Google Summer of Code? First of all, it's not the end of the world. You will have chances to prove that you're a programmer, that you want to contribute to the community. The next bullet, I could say, you won't have a chance to participate the next time. You can try the next year also, the next summer. No one will tell you that you are not allowed it, you have to get out of the community. No. I mean that if you worked but you failed, you can try the next time as well. Then you will not be aborted from the open source community, as I mentioned. Furthermore, that you have been, another explanation would be that you have been an idle developer. No, I think that lazy developers, you see the lazy developers from the beginning of the Summer of Code. And the last one that I believe it strongly, that was mentor's wish. Mentor's job is to make you success, to help you, to communicate with him, to interact with him. If you are not able to interact with him, as I mentioned the point before, that there was a miscommunication, that's your problem. But no ways the mentor wants you to fail, not to have success. So, as I participated, okay, I failed. I want to give some tips and tricks for people that wish to participate for the next year, for 2013. So my first consult is do not under or overestimate your skills. You have to be sure for your skills before making your proposal. You have to choose the right idea or the right project as well, and you have to focus on that. Before submitting your proposal, you have to talk with a mentor to know more about the idea, to see, okay, this is a awesome idea, but can I handle it? So you have to ensure this. Furthermore, you have to, as I mentioned before, excuse me, you have to focus more on the experience that you gain, that you will gain experience, that you will be involved, that you will be a better programmer, developer, rather than that I'm getting into only to earn the money and then I'm gonna disappear. That's a bad strategy. I could say that's a bad way of thinking. To get into only for earning money. Okay, I'm ready. I'm going to participate. What do I have to do? What else missing? First of all, you have to make a flexible time schedule for the entire GSOC period. You have to construct two plans, as I say. You have the plan A, and if the plan A fails, you have the plan B. You have to activate the plan B, because the deadlines. You don't have to.
Also, you have to finish.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, you have around 2 minutes.
Okay.
Because I'm nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Finish.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
No. Finish what you're talking about.
Yes.
But finish faster.
Okay.
Next time you drink beers before you make a presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Continue.
So apart from participating with an idea, you can suggest your idea, but you have to plan it. You have to construct it, plan it before, very, very well and with consequence. Okay, this is my future plans. I'm not going to explain them because I have.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I could say to students that, as my mentor said, failure is not is a part of our life. Excuse me, but we don't never give up. We carry on. Life is going on, and you will have chances to prove your experience, your passion, and your skills, your abilities. Any questions? Yes. From the results are announced from the last days of April, when you know that if you are approved or not, until the last days of August.
It's not a conference.
It's not a conference.
I'll explain you later.
But okay, you can ask me later.
Okay, so I'm happy you finished.
Okay, I had to. Thanks a lot. And excuse me for the bad English. I was feeling too nervous.
Sit down.
Yeah, but I had
Faster. I double. Okay, here we are. So, who cares?
Who cares? Okay.
This stuff is stronger than me. So, life is too short to unmount USB properly. Okay. So our next and final talk is from Bernard. You're talking about?
don't have slides prepared on this one, so it's
mind.
going to be more live, and it is on the cloud.
Oh.
More in particular, there is the SUSE Cloud 1.0, which is a very new product which we run internally if you have an OpenVPN running. And it's under this hardly guessable URL. And this is how the cloud could look like. You have a browser where you sign in with your password, and then you see, we have an admin project where we can play around. And in this cloud, there are images, basically disk images, appliances, which we could start. For example, we could use this 12.2 32-bit XFCE image and click launch here and say, this is Bernex XFCE one, and it shall have some disk space, and tiny is enough, and it can no key. So, and then we launch it, and does a bit, and then it's launching here. And it takes a minute to copy the files around from the image storage to the actual machine where it is running. That's all automatic in the background. And it's already marked active, so we can click here, get a VNC console, and there we see a VNC console with OpenSUSE, and we can get it to full screen, like this one. Come on. Yeah, and there we have our full screen garbage of the booting VM. And if it's working as expected, there should be an XFCE turning up in the newly booted VM. And yeah, that comes. That's pretty neat if we need to test how does it look like on this version, and we have a Fedora image and an Ubuntu image and an SLS image and all you need. And then you can click in your browser, because it's using a software called NoVNC, using JavaScript, WebSockets, and HTML5 canvas, all modern technologies that you can imagine. And you can even get up an extern somewhere over there, and see that yes, you have memory and you have as much disk space as you selected. And the idea is for companies to run it on their 100 machines and provide VMs to their employees or customers and whatnot. Yeah, and the important thing is that we have these packages, which is OpenStack actually, in our OBS. Under, not ARM, under the other one, build OpenSUSE.org, virtualization cloud OpenStack SUSE. And there we have all the related packages. Some are already in factory, but not in the right versions. It's still on the to-do list, but it will come soon. Wong Song up there is also working to get this done, and he's doing great. So we have these packages here, and it's not really easy to set up. So we used some framework internally called Crowbar that PXE boots the physical machines and brings them up and tells them to install the operating system and install the cloud software and configure it in a particular way. And that's more complicated. So there's still a simple way, which I wrote into a script on the QA tests on the OpenQA machine. And if you look right here, there's a QA OpenStack script. And I'm not sure, I think it will download. Yeah, but running the script can set up a VM to run a full cloud in a single machine or in a VM, which is rather nice. And we use it for QA, or if you want to debug something or develop something. A one-node cloud is the thing to use because you have all the logs on one machine. And if you start a VM, you don't have to search, on which of the 100 physical machines did it start now? So that's a nice thing. Yeah. So, anything you want to see from our cloud? Questions? Yes, no? Okay, thank you very much for watching the cloud. Yeah.
So you have another one? Bernard?
Hmm?
You have another presentation?
Another one.
Yeah,
where should I take it from?
You have?
Any topic? I can talk on 100 topics.
You can talk about...
Just name
Okay.
one.
No. Well, then I guess we're finished. Thanks all for coming. Raspberry. Talk about Raspberry. You should do a speed talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a specialist.
Yeah, I have a Raspberry and I put OpenSUSE on it. And we have working images for it.
Oh, so us images.
Yes, of course we have. Currently they are hosted on my personal machine, and there are links on our OpenSUSE ARM mailing list for it. And they are pointing to this directory where we have old images which I replaced with a message of there's a new image, and the new image is this one from October, and you can just write it to an SD card and boot it up. And the thing we still have to do is to make it build with Kiwi in OBS, so that you can just pull the image from OBS and write it to a SD card. And we have most of the things done in build OpenSUSE.org, OpenSUSE Factory ARM, and there's a sub-project for Raspberry Pi. Here under sub-projects, Raspberry Pi, and there I packaged the 12.1 kernel. Because the Raspberry patches which are needed don't apply to the current vanilla kernel, but they do apply to the 3.1 kernel which we used. So we have the kernel here, and we have a Raspberry firmware package here, which contains the bootloader stuff from Broadcom, I think. Yeah, and what's missing is the Kiwi thing, and actually there's something prepared already. So maybe it would work if it wasn't unresolvable for some Kiwi magic. Yeah, so there's still some things to do. My custom built image just works if you drop it on a disk, but it's not so nice to maintain it externally. The Raspberry itself has some nice HDMI output with an MPEG-4 decoder and a serial port on a pin header, which is not so practical, but you can power it over a USB with micro USB. And it has some nice GPIO opens, which is mostly why I bought it. So in principle, you could build a 3D printer with it and control the motors.
Cool.
Yeah. So, any more topics?
No, I think we should leave. They're starting moving the place.
Oh, come on.
They will throw us out. And we have to go drink beers.
I don't like beer.
German, right?
Yeah, wine is okay, but beer...
Wine is for Debian guys. We're OpenSUSE, we drink beers.
No.
Cocktails! Say it louder. Louder! Louder!
Cocktails. Cocktails is okay. Yeah, and of course we have wine on OpenSUSE, so...
We have wine.
Yeah, Markus Meisner does wine.
Oh, yeah, and no, he's not Nomen Sushi anymore. Who makes honey?
Who?
Who makes honey?
Klaus Freitag
Klaus,
does
Klaus.
honey, yeah.
Yeah, great
Yeah,
honey.
now he does his own cloud.
Yeah, now he does Oakland. So, thanks all for coming. That's it.